Hey, Claude Pelanne here, Affiliate Starting Line. Welcome. This is going to be part 3 of video series on Google Insights for Search. And this time, we're going to come over here and we're going to do a search by time frames. Now, you saw this when I clicked time frames, it brought the time range data into the centerfold here, and then the search box went over here to the right. Well, let's continue we're still in the snowboards business. And I want to get a sense of the trend of snowboards. So we're going to take a look and say 2010, 2009, 2008, 2007. We're going to go web search worldwide, snowboards, etc. We'll just leave everything, all these at the default, and let's take a look. So we're looking for snowboards, and we're going to see what happens when we do this. So if I take a look at here, the interest over time. Now, I noticed something here. First of all, we saw from yesterday's video, or the last video I did, where the geographic interest is, and it's pretty much the same. Canada, US, New Zealand, Switzerland, Austria, Australia, Czech Republic, Norway, Slovenia, Slovakia. So, but if we look here, we're going to notice that 2010, which is in blue, is at the bottom of the list. So the peak interest here is lower than it was, let's say, in green in 2007, which 2007 is setting the relative peak. So that what that tells me is that demand has been a reflection of the world recession in a sense, because the economies were very strong in 2007, 2008 things got weaker, 2009 and 2010 and weaker still. So it kind of reflects that in this graph. The trend line of interest, is what we saw in the last lesson, high in the winter in the northern hemisphere. Let's see, most of these are all New Zealand would be the exception. And then it drops during the course of the summer, and then in the fall, interest picks up and moves up. So relative to other years, it looks like business would be softer. And that's how much we do know. Then you can go and check out individual countries. So in this case, we're going to look at Canada and see, in Canada, let me see, the interest in 2010 peaked over all of the preceding years in February. So business looked like it was pretty good in Canada in February. And then as the year wore on in 2010, it dropped below the relative interest in the preceding years and it stayed there. So in Canada, the interest was something that in the early part of the year was okay. Let's take a look at the U.S. In the U.S., same thing. It's interesting. It shows a peak above the preceding year, so business would have been better than the preceding years. And then in the February of 2010, then it drops below the relative interest in the preceding years, and it stays well below it right through into 2011. So that's kind of an interesting thing there. So what this tells you is, it seems like the peak time of business for these snowboards is at February of a given year. And that even with the recession, if you market right, you can probably do pretty well because this interest here relative to the others is higher. So this is a way of using the time range feature to see what the trend is for a product. Let's take a look at skis. Now we're in the U.S. and it's showing a similar trend line for skis. Now we also know from lesson 1 that skis has a much more higher relative interest than snowboards, but nevertheless you can see how you can do things with trending interest. Let's take a look at something completely different. Alloy wheels. Now there we see less seasonal effect and steadier business through the year. Pardon me. The peak was in 27, reflecting a stronger economy. But this gives you an idea of how you can take a product and take a look at the trend lines by time range, and then you can even, you can fine-tune it to go into different parts of the world. And that's it. So I hope this has been helpful. This is Claude Pelanne at Affiliate Starting Line. Stay with it, stay well, and we'll talk to you soon.